everybody, my name is Mike Kennedy. I'm from Halifax and I am a chartered professional accountant or a CPA. So what is accounting? It's basically the language of business and organizations. As accountants, we're scorekeepers and strategic advisors to business and organizations of all shapes and sizes. And we help them track whether they're achieving success, meeting targets, and we use a ton of information, analyze a ton of information to help advise organizations on how to make big decisions about their futures and how to allocate the company's resources. So, the primary role of an accountant would involve looking at the finances or money side of a business. But increasingly, accountants are taking on bigger roles around managing the data for companies and helping to advise the companies on how they're performing when it comes to their social and environmental track records. So how did I get to where I am today? I grew up in Porters Lake, Nova Scotia, small town just outside of Halifax, went to Eastern Shore District High, go Schooners, and then I went to Acadia University to study business with a focus in accounting. From there, the first job I took out of university was working with a company called Deloitte, which was in Calgary and has offices all over the world. So I started in Calgary and I was an auditor where I worked with companies basically to go in, look at their accounting records and make sure they were telling the truth and that to showcase that what they were reporting on their financial reports matched up with what was happening in reality. So I was in Calgary for a few years. I was advising clients in healthcare, in the oil and gas business, as well as big companies around the world. I had the chance to travel to all sorts of places, including around Canada, all throughout the US, Texas and Colorado notably, and I had the chance to go to Beijing. I had a client there, so that was pretty cool. I also, when I was working at Deloitte, had a chance to go to the Olympics in Vancouver. It was for accounting, not for any sports. We were one of the sponsors of that event. So that was pretty neat. Accounting could get you to the Olympics. From there, I went on to work with the province of Nova Scotia with the Department of Finance. And my job there was as an audit manager where I worked with the Department of Health. So Department of Health and Wellness spends just over $4 billion a year on healthcare. And they needed a couple of accountants to go look at how that money was being spent, determine if there was areas where spending could be made more efficiently, and making sure that there was no fraud or people kind of taking advantage of the health system. So I did that for a couple of years. That was pretty neat. And then I moved into my most recent role where I'm a professor at Acadia University and I teach accounting, mostly to first year students. Been doing that for about 5 years now. And I also am involved with a number of local charities and social enterprises where I provide accounting advice to them. So help them build budgets, and help them to identify strategies to keep their businesses afloat and thriving. So that's just a few of the things that I do. When you're an accountant, you kind of end up wearing a lot of different hats. And so I'm teaching a little bit, advising businesses a little bit, and helping out with some charities along the way. So there's a great opportunity to give back when you're accounting. Why I chose this career, I thought it was a really great way to understand the nuts and bolts of a business. So when I was at Acadia, I had a great accounting prof named Ian Hutchinson who kind of showed me the ropes of accounting, really challenged me to learn in that area. And it was a great way to understand kind of the nitty gritty of a business. When you're the accountant, you've really got to be into the details of a business, know every process, every contract, every detail, and every strategy of the business to make sure that the business is appropriately keeping score. I also liked that it was really challenging and rewarding when you finally got the balance sheet to balance, and or you were able to provide like a client with really good advice that helped them to make a tough decision in their business. When it comes to educational requirements to be a CPA or a chartered professional accountant, firstly, you're going to need a undergraduate degree in accounting. You can get that at any university. You could also get started at community college as well and take courses there. So you've got to knock off a few years worth of courses after high school, and then you would move into what's called the CPA PEP program, which involves so PEP stands for Professional Education Program, and And it's basically a master's where you take a number of more challenging courses in accounting and become a real expert. You've got to knock off a couple of months of work experience with a company or a firm, and then write a 3-day accounting exam. Super exciting. 3 days of accounting glory. After that, you will become a CPA, which is the most recognized accounting profession and one of the most recognized professional designations around the world. So to be a good accountant, you need good communication skills. You're often conveying complex information or delivering some sometimes troubling or sobering news. So communication skills are key. You gotta be great with data and the ability to synthesize and interpret a lot of information and communicate it clearly. So you're going to want to be really sound in like Excel and some basic programming. In terms of a typical workday, you arrive at the office first thing in the morning, 7:30, 8 o'clock, grab a strong coffee to get you through the day. Generally chat with your colleagues and kind of build a game plan for the day. Spend half an hour to an hour on email, kind of planning things, doing your regular correspondence. And then most of the mornings you're just diving into meetings with clients and then analyzing information. So you'd be getting all sorts of financial reports, combing through the data to identify any big risks or trends or instances of fraud. Spending most of your day kind of either chatting with clients to get information or analyzing data from either the office or at home increasingly. Hopefully you can sneak in a little jog or a bike ride at lunch, depending on the weather. And then in the afternoons, lots of kind of building reports and making recommendations to clients about, or to your other members of your team about what decisions you should be making. Maybe we want to open a new product line or hire more employees, or maybe we need to shut a particular part of our business down. So things like that. The things I love about this job, you really get to understand business and organizations, and you can be an awesome advisor to organizations of all shapes and sizes. The CPA is a coveted designation to have. You get to work with a ton of people from across different backgrounds and really be helpful to them in the decisions that they're making. And it opens tons of doors for volunteer work and to travel and work just about anywhere in the world. On the dislikes side of things, it's a fair amount of screen time, which is going to be tough to get away from. And it can also be long hours when you get into tax season and busy times in the year. There's tons of employment opportunities that come with it, from working for a for-profit business through to charities. Every organization needs accountants to help them keep score and track their success. The average salary once you get cooking in the profession is close to $150,000 a year, which is pretty darn good. Starting out probably going to be lighter. After graduating from university, most grads would start in the $35,000 to $45,000 per year range. But that goes up pretty quickly as you earn your CPA designation and move on to bigger things. It's generally, you're looking at working about 40 to 50 hours a week. There is some flexibility in there, and the culture is changing as more and more processes get automated. Firms and companies are moving to allowing employees to have a bit more leisure. And there's lots of opportunity for travel and mobility. Increasingly, you can work from anywhere when it comes to accounting. So that is life as a chartered professional accountant. Encouraging you to reach out if you have any questions. I wish you all the best. I hope you kick around in Nova Scotia and help make this province even better. Take care.